So, today we're tackling a huge idea that has shaped our world for decades: modernization theory. It's a concept that really tries to get to the bottom of a massive question. What does it even mean for a country to be modern? Seriously, think about it. Is it all about shiny skyscrapers and smartphones? Is it about democracy? Or is it just about having a ton of money? It's way trickier than it sounds, and it's the big puzzle we're going to unpack in this explainer. For a long time, scholars would look at a world map and just wonder, why did this nation develop this way while that one took a completely different path? And out of that huge, complicated question, a really powerful framework started to take shape. And that framework is modernization theory. At its heart, it's basically a way to explain the colossal social, political, and economic shifts that happen when a society moves from what we'd call a traditional state to a modern one. Think of it like a special lens for viewing history as it unfolds. Okay, so if modernization is this giant transformation, what's actually pushing the buttons? What are the real engines driving all that change? Well, the theory points to a few absolutely crucial forces. So how does this all happen? The theory really boils it down to three core ingredients that can make or break a nation's journey. You've got leadership, ideology, and its existing traditional culture. Let's dig into each one of these. First up, leadership. This one is huge. The person at the top, their vision can totally change the game. I mean, just think about the incredible contrast between someone like Gandhi, who pushed for a nonviolent, village-centered path for India, and then you have Mao Zedong in China, who forced this brutal, super-fast industrialization. Their decisions didn't just steer the ship, they literally changed the destination. Next, you have ideology. This is the big idea, the set of beliefs that can get an entire population on the same page. A really powerful ideology can act almost like a chemical solvent. It can just dissolve the grip of old traditional ways of doing things and forge a brand new sense of who we are as a nation. That kind of unity is often the fuel for massive change. And finally, there's traditional culture. Now, this one is fascinating because it's a real double-edged sword. A society's existing values and structures can be the perfect launchpad, making the whole transition to modernity way smoother. Or they can be the biggest roadblock imaginable, creating all sorts of friction and resistance to change. So there you have it: leaders, ideas, and culture. It's a pretty neat model, right? Which, of course, leads to the next big question. Who were the brains behind this whole operation? Who actually architected this theory? Okay, let's meet those architects. And we're not talking about some stuffy academics hidden away in a dusty library. These were brilliant scholars trying to make sense of the unbelievable changes that were sweeping the globe, especially right after World War II. I mean, we're talking about the absolute giants of the field. Thinkers like David Apter, Samuel Huntington, and Lucian Pye. These guys weren't just contributing to the conversation, they pretty much built the entire field of modernization studies from the ground up. And their ideas were laid out in these incredibly influential books. Samuel Huntington's Political Development and Decay, for example, was a total intellectual bombshell. He argued that if social change happens too fast without strong political institutions to manage it, you don't get progress, you get chaos and violence. This book and others like it created a whole new way of looking at the world. And from that point on, the whole conversation just exploded. You had scholars digging into specific case studies all over the world, from Nigeria to Japan. They developed these sharp new concepts to refine the theory. For instance, a guy named Karl Deutsch came up with this idea of social mobilization, this process where people's old loyalties break down, making them open to new modern ways of living. So we've got the theory, the key factors, and the thinkers behind it. But let's bring this all home. Why should you or I actually care about this academic theory today? What's the real-world takeaway here? At the end of the day, while modernization theory has been debated, criticized, and picked apart for years, it's still an incredibly powerful tool. It gives us a framework, a lens for analyzing pretty much everything, from global politics and economic trends to why cultures change over time. It doesn't have all the answers, for sure, but it helps us ask way, way better questions. And that brings us to the final, really provocative thought. It's the question that people are still fiercely debating today. Is modernization really a single, universal path that every society is eventually going to walk down? Or is it just a blueprint based on how Western countries did it? A blueprint that maybe doesn't really fit the rest of the world? It's a heck of a question to chew on.